when you asked if we'd be willing to do this, I said yes, because I have been so grateful for the way in which we were made to feel totally welcome at Shepherd of the Hills Church because of the way Dick came to us. He approached me one day and said, how would you like to have coffee? We did that a couple of times, and Barbara and I joined him at the restaurant for coffee, and then I said to him, it would be easier if we did this at our house. And so we did that a couple times, and one time Dick said, you know, there are several people at the church who would love to come and become acquainted with you if we could do that. And I said, I was perfectly willing, and Barbara was perfectly willing to do that, but if I had to call somebody and invite them, it would never happen. That just wasn't something I would ever follow up on. So Dick undertook the task of calling various people in the church and inviting them to what we came to call Thursdays with Barbara, and then eventually Fridays with Barbara when we changed the day. And the remarkable thing about it was that in a short time, we met numerous people, 20, 30, 40 people at the church. And because we spent an hour and a half or 2 hours with them, we came to feel friendly with them and comfortable with them. And so when we were at church, they would come over to the corner where we sat and say good morning and ask how Barbara was and the like. And I attribute all of that to the remarkable gift of friendship that Dick Noble had, and I appreciate it enormously. I remember the first time you and Barbara and I had coffee, you were brainstorming about ways that the church could reach out to the community. And I thought it was very interesting in retrospect, as I thought about it, that you didn't just ask if we could go out to have coffee and talk, become acquainted, but you had a mission. You said, I'd like to talk to you about any ideas you might have. And so I think in a way I felt flattered that you were asking my brilliant advice. And although I don't think I had anything to contribute in the long run, your approach of asking me to give an opinion or advice on something you were engaged in for the church, I think was very constructive, made me much more comfortable. And I think you were seeking just different ideas.
Well, I'm sure I was. I've lost a lot of memory.
Sure.
That's the thing. I'm a happy guy. And when I lost out, when I had the stroke, Mark stepped right in.
Yep.
And it moved right ahead.
Kept inviting people.
Kept and everything was great.
Now, did you see people who came here and sat around our living room get to know each other better than they had?
Yes. There's no question about it. It was true. That's true.
Did they comment about that or say something to you?
I think they did.
Yeah.
That was a good thing. Barbara was in the center of the whole thing, and we had a good thing going.
Yeah.
But I can't explain everything.
We looked forward to it every week. It was a fun time, wasn't it, Barbara?
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. A fun time.
She said it was. It really was. It was a fun time. Every session, every meeting, every one of the Thursday with Barbara sessions was different. And we never knew what tack it might take. Some of them were really quite, I will say, superficial, but most of them where people really opened up and we talked about things that were close to us and important to us. We talked about the loss of our son, and other people talked about tragedies in their lives and how it had affected their faith. Mm-hmm. It was very moving, wasn't it, Barbara?
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was.
And I think, Dick, that when people talk about things that are really very important to them, share that. They become better friends.
No question. No question.
A little bit like being in a foxhole together.
Yes.
You've trusted a person enough to share a very important truth about your life, sometimes a very sad thing. And
There's some sadness in everybody's life.
isn't that true? What you learn is that if you get to know somebody, everybody,
Nobody escapes.
nobody, Barbara says, nobody escapes. And you know, we meet people, and even when we think we get to know them, and we don't share the things that we're hurting over.
Right.
And I think one of the things about Barbara's impact is that because she is in a chair, because she's a quadriplegic, you can see her limitation. And
Yes.
everybody is one way or another in a wheelchair. They just don't all show it. And Barbara shows it, and so it allows you to start talking. And we talk about Barbara and what life was like and what life is like. And pretty soon people are sharing their wheelchair.
Very true.
And what you find is there is nobody who hasn't experienced all kinds of sometimes incredible pain and suffering and loss. But they go on and they put a good face on things. You know, and I think, Mark, you've commented sometimes that Barbara is an inspiration to people. I think if that's true, it's because people can see
Yes.
her impediment. They
Yes.
can see that she can't move her arms and
Yes.
can't move her legs,
Yes.
has trouble getting her voice strong enough to be heard.
Yes.
And so they can see that she's got this very difficult situation, a difficult condition. And yet, she's a cheery person, she's a happy person, and she goes on living and smiling. Can you smile? And she goes on smiling.
Can you sing for us, Barbara?
And
Yeah.
That's all.
And what she's doing is the same thing that these other people are doing. It's just that in their case, you don't realize the pain that they're keeping silent, covering up, as Barb says, covering up. So, and for us, I think it's been hugely important that we have such an abiding faith in Jesus Christ. We often...
You know it is.
Barbara says, we know it is. We often talk, when it's just the two of us, about how wonderful it is to know that this life is not all there is, and that this condition is not all there is, and that this is...
I'm going to sing
I'm going to sing
in heaven.
in heaven,
And I'm going to, what else?
dance.
Dance.
And I'm going to dance in heaven. And that's what she said the day Ron Holmes, the pastor at Shepherd of the Hills Presbyterian Church, was preaching about heaven. I was sitting beside her just as I am now, and all of a sudden she said, "Oh, Don, I'm going to sing in heaven. I'm going to dance in heaven." Well, Dick was the key. Dick had this incredible gift, I feel, of welcoming us, making us feel very comfortable with him, and then inviting people and just
Right.
making us feel like they were friends really from the moment they walked in, although we didn't know them at all in many cases. And many wanted to come back and did, and it was just great.
You got to be a lot of people.
A lot of people, a lot of cookies, a lot of cookies and lots of coffee,
Lots of laughter.
and lots of laughter.
Yes.
You know what's interesting, even on those occasions when we were sharing some of the most painful things in our lives, there would still be those breaks where we would see the humor
Yes.
in life and enjoy laughing. And I think that's a God-given gift.